Hi, everybody, and welcome to your UTeach curriculum on the Codio platform. In this video, I'm going to show you how to navigate the Codio platform, how to navigate assignments, and go through the settings. So let's jump right into it. So this is the Codio platform, and this is where UTeach houses all three of its courses. And we're going to demo this using our UTeach CSP course, but the layout is the same for all of our courses. The consistency is good, which makes it good for your students. If you're going to teach multiple courses using UTeach, at least the platform is the same. So the first thing I want to point out is at the top of the screen, you'll see the courses, build, connect, and help button. Now, for UTeach teachers, you need to be familiar with just the help tab up here. If you ever need to reach out to the UTeach support team, all you have to do is click on Get Support, and this will shoot us an email. We're very responsive. We get back really quickly to you. Now, if you prefer, you can always just click Schedule One-on-One Call, click on Curriculum Support, and just go right into the UTeach support team calendar and schedule a quick 15 or 20-minute meeting. We don't have to use all the time. We just want to solve your problem and get you on your way. It's easier than playing email tag. All right, so that's all you need to be familiar with at the top of the screen. Now, let's open up your course and show you how to navigate the Codio platform. Now, before we actually open up an assignment, let's first take a look on the left side of the screen. Okay, this is where all of the course administration and grading tabs are. And I'm just going to go through them quickly to review them with you so that you know the ones that you should be using and the ones you can ignore. Okay, now overview, we're going to review in a moment. This is where you would teach the course. This is where you'll be able to see your students' work, open up their assignments, do the settings for the assignments. Edit assignments is going to be locked. Okay. Now, the password to unlock it is one word: edit UTeach. EDIT UTEACH. Everything lowercase except the U and the T. The U and the T is going to be capital. Hook 'em horns. Okay. And that's how you access the edit assignments. Now, we won't be reviewing edit assignments in this video. There's a separate video that does a deep dive into the pros and cons and how to edit assignments. Because one of the nice things about the Codio platform is it's customizable. You can edit our assignments. You can add in your own assignments. You can delete out our assignments. So it's very customizable for you. Now, the next tab is the student tab. Now, there's two ways of adding students to your Codio course. One way is through a learning management system like Schoology, Canvas, or Google Classroom. And the other way is through Codio directly. Now, please listen up. You can't do both. You can't integrate with an LMS and then add students directly into Codio. It's an either or thing, okay? So if you are not going to do an LMS integration with Canvas, Schoology, or Google Classroom, it's very easy to just add students to Codio. All you have to do is click on the student tab here and click add a student. Now, when you do that, a link will appear right here, invitation URL, not token, the URL. And all you have to do is share that with your students and they'll be able to join your course. Now, another nice feature of Codio is you're able to add test students. This way, after you set up your course and you enable assignments and you disable assignments and you make prerequisites and you grade work and you add a leaderboard and you do all these fantastic things, you'll be able to come in here and click on log in as and go in as a test student to see what your students are going to see. You can also go in as a test student and try out the assignments before your students go in there if it's something new that you're not familiar with. So this is how you would add students if you are not using an LMS. We'll get to that in just one moment. Now, you do not need to worry about bulk settings or automated emails. Now let's move on to the admin section. Now, if you click on course details, this is how you can change the name of the course. If you don't like the name of our course, you could simply delete something out, change the name, and then just click the blue Save Changes button right here. Okay? So that is how you have to save any changes you make to the course, whether it's settings. Just always remember to click the blue Save Changes button. All right. Now you could add a start date and an archive date to your course. UTeach will automatically archive all of the courses in July. Okay. Once the year is over, that is when your 1 year subscription runs out, and that is when we archive your course. All right. Now, course management. If for some reason you create a class and you want to just delete it, this is where you would delete it. You'd click on that red button and you would delete your course. The Teachers tab. This is important. If you want to add a co-teacher, an aide, a TA, or someone who's going to be helping you in the classroom, or even an administrator, so they have access to your curriculum, here's where you would do it. You would just go to where it says Invite Teacher and click Add Member, and you would just put their email address right here. Now, there's two different teachers you can add to your course: a read-only teacher or just a teacher. So a teacher will have access to everything you do, including the ability to grade student work. Now, a read-only teacher will have access to everything you do, but they will not be able to grade the student work. They'll have the same answer keys, teacher view of materials, handouts, all that stuff. They won't be able to grade. So that's how you'll add anybody who's going to be working with you to the course. Now, the next one, export. Okay, this is going to be important for just the PDF right over here. You see, you can't print our assignments from the browser. You can't click on print and have it print. It won't work. What you can do is you can export our assignments as PDFs and then do whatever you want with that PDF. You can print that PDF. You could take that PDF, upload it to AI, and ask AI to make a slideshow out of it, to redo it for a different language, for a different reading level, update it to have another, current article. So you could do a lot when you export our course as a PDF. And here's how you do it. It's pretty simple. When you click on the Export tab on the left side of the screen here, and then you see it says PDF, you just click the Export. And then you choose what you want to export. You can export the whole course. Maybe I just want Unit 1. Okay, so I highlight Unit 1. And then down here, there's a toggle. It says Include Teacher-Only Content. If I was exporting this from my students, I would just keep it as is. Because what that means is they're getting the student view of everything. Now, if I toggle this on, and it says include teacher only content, well, this would be for you or your administrator or your co-teacher, because it's going to include our teacher lesson plan, our teacher alignment page, the answers to the questions, the answers to any testing assignments, the rationales, coding samples. So this is going to be for you. And then finally, you get to choose, do I want it to be one big PDF or broken down by assignment? And then after you choose whichever you want, it'll send you it in your email. Usually takes like up to 5 minutes to get emailed to you or less, but then you'll have it. So that is the important thing about export. Ignore the rest. LTI LMS integration. Okay. If you're integrating with Google Classroom, it's real easy. You just click the Connect to Google Classroom button. If you want to connect with Schoology or Canvas, okay, you'll have to reach out to me and I'll provide you with the instructions to do that, but it's not hard. Okay, but Google Classroom actually has a button built into it. Now, please remember what I said earlier about adding students to your course. If you are going to integrate with Google Classroom right here, or Schoology or Canvas. Okay, you need to have the students in your Google Classroom, Schoology or Canvas, before you do this integration. Okay, you want to have all the students in there, and then you can integrate Codio with those platforms. And what will happen is Codio will dump all of the assignments into your learning management system. And then the very first time one of your students clicks on an assignment on your LMS, it'll take them to Codio, and Codio will ask them to sign up using their school email. That's when the connection between the two accounts happen. And then from that point forward, whatever your student does in Codio, the grades will get pushed to your LMS. All right. I also have a short video, all right, on my playlist that I'll recommend for you to watch, all right, in the description of this YouTube video. That walks you through the pros and cons of doing this. I'll just let you know that it is not really a perfectly neat integration because it's going to take every assignment in our course and dump it into your LMS all at once. So that means when you do the integration, like you're going to get 150 assignments put in to your Google Classroom, then you'll have to organize them. All right. But I also know some of you have to integrate. All right. I know like you have to then have some sort of slide deck. So that's why I mentioned the export, take our PDF, upload it to ChatGPT and tell it to just make a slide deck using this PDF. It'll do it. All right. So LTI LMS integration. Okay. If you need more information, reach out to me. Or at the end of this, I'll show you how to find any more information from Codio's database. All right, last couple things here. Gamification. Gamification allows you to do the following. And I like show leaderboard. You can add a leaderboard to your class. Now, I don't call it a leaderboard because if you celebrate the top 3 students in your class, you're going to lose the bottom 3. So instead, I call this my board of transparency. Here's why. Your students will be able to see where they are ranked in your class, but they will not be able to see anyone else's name except their own. Everyone else's name in the class is blurred out. So all they know if you have 20 kids in the class is, I'm number 12 out of 20. All right. I think that's really powerful. It lets them know where they stand. And you can then tell them, well, hey, listen, you keep telling me you're working as hard as you can. Well, that's 12 out of 20 in my class. Let's brainstorm some strategies that maybe can help you study more or learn the content better so that you can be ranked higher in the class. All right. Now, they can also do course progress, average course progress, or module progress. I'm not really into those things. All right. And then whenever you want to be part of the leaderboard, you just click this configure button and you could pick and choose what you want to be as part of the leaderboard score or assignments. All right. So let's keep going on here. Don't worry about LLMs right now. We'll be developing that out as the year goes on. Just so you know, Codio has a built-in AI helper, Codio Coach. I'll be showing you Codio Coach in a minute. All right, but it will also be bringing LLM rubric rating later on this year. And I'll be sending videos out during the school year to talk more about that. And do not worry about notifications. Now, under grading, it says basic settings, okay? What you need to know about basic settings is not really these settings, but behavior insight options. If you are going to be having the students do Python or Java, you are going to want to turn on behavior insights. Okay. What is behavior insights? Behavior insights is Codio's ability to let you know, did your students do the coding on their own? Now, Codio has code playback built into it. You can see it right here. You'll be able just to click on the student's coding assignment and watch their code being typed. So you'll know if they cut and paste because a blip will appear on the screen. But you have something better. You have behavior insights. What that will do is give you a green, yellow, or a pale color to let you know, did the student do this work on their own? All right. It'll let you know how long they worked on the assignment, how many edits they made, and more importantly, how many external pastes they did, which lines specifically were externally pasted, where they came from. So By turning on behavior insights, you'll be able to, and I love to say this, show the students you have the ability to know that they're not coding on their own and they will begrudgingly start to do the coding you ask them. All right. So that is behavior insights. You can turn it on and off because you don't need it for everything. You only need it for coding assignments. And you can turn it on and off here. Okay. I would just tell you to keep it on for the whole course. It doesn't hurt, even if you're just looking at it for Python and Java. And then at the very bottom, okay, at the very, very bottom, you have your grading queue. Now, your grading queue is your safety net. You'll open an assignment up and you'll grade it. But unfortunately, we live in the real world, which means two kids will be absent. One kid won't hand it in on time. Other kids will need it to be redone. So you never have to go back into that assignment to catch those few kids. This is your safety net. The grading queue will catch all of the grading assignments that you haven't done and put them right here. And then you'll be able to sort them by assignment, student name, start date. So when you go into your course to grade, that's how you'll grade. You'll do your first pass in the assignment, and then anybody you didn't grade, you'll just come to the grading queue and you'll be able to pick it up here in the safety net. All right, so now let's actually open up an assignment. Okay, overview. Okay, I'm going to open unit 1 because all of our unit zeros are not for the students, they're for you, the teacher. Okay, our unit zeros are for teachers. It teaches you about the course. It has our frequently asked questions. It has our syllabus. It lets you know what you need to tell the IT team to make Codio work in your school. Hint, you just need to have cookies enabled on your browser and have 3 websites enabled. And you can find the answer right here under FAQs. All right, but let's look more at Unit 1. No matter what course you are teaching, they are all laid out exactly the same. Our units start with our Unit 1 overview. This is where you will find your pacing guide. Okay? Now, the next assignment, and we'll review the pacing guide in a minute, is the vocabulary sheet. Okay? Next is the vocabulary. And then you'll have the assignments, you'll have the unit projects, which will be scaffolded throughout the unit. And then at the end of the unit, we have our unit review. Okay. And then we always provide a standard version of our exam. And for some of our courses, we have an alternate version. Let me explain the difference of the two quickly. Your standard version is exactly what it sounds like. It's like 20 or 25 multiple choice questions. You can, we can mix around the answer choices to kind of make it tougher for the kids to cheat or to plagiarize. And you could kind of regenerate the questions if you want. But we also have an alternate version. And the alternate version will be where we take like 10 of the questions, 7 to 10 of the 20 questions. And they will be completely different questions for every kid's test, but still test the same concept. All right. So the alternate version is great. If a kid is absent, you can give them the alternate version. If you're teaching 2 class periods, you can use the alternate version for one, maybe the alternate version for both. All right. But it's not perfect because it's harder to go over the alternate version with students because they're all going to have different questions. You'll have to like review concepts. Whereas a standard version, it's like, hey, 2 plus 2 is 4. Everyone has 4 as their answer, right? It's easy to explain how we arrived at 4. All right. It's harder to, explain a concept. All right. So now let me just quickly go back up. The Unit 1 overview. It's always going to be where your pacing guide is. Okay. So you scroll down to next. And then here's your pacing guide. All of our UTeach curriculums are based on project-based learning, 50-minute class periods. But it's easy for you to be able to redo our pacing guides using AI to fit your class schedule. Maybe it's 100-minute blocks, half a year. Maybe it's different. All right. And I'll keep coming back to AI because it makes our curriculum so much more versatile because we have great content already. It's easy for AI just to take great content and rework it. It's easy to take a great lesson plan that's made for project based and ask AI to make it for flipped classroom. But this is where you'll find out. And hey, for our Unit 1 in CSP, it'll be done in 18 15-minute class periods if you do it exactly how we say. So each unit starts with that Unit 1, the unit overview where you find your pacing guide. The next thing was the vocabulary. Let me explain vocabulary in the UTeach world. We recommend that you tell your students to keep this vocabulary assignment open for the entire unit. Okay, for each one of our courses, we have a different color box that vocabulary words will be called out in the assignment. So while they're doing the assignment, we want them to cut and paste the vocabulary definition out of these colored boxes and into their vocabulary sheet. So that's why this vocabulary assignment never gets graded. It is just for the students to keep open alongside in a separate tab, whatever assignment they're working on that day, and they'll be able to cut and paste. So when they're done with the whole unit, they'll be done with the vocabulary assignment as well. So where do you test vocabulary? You test vocabulary in this review assignment that's at the end of each unit. And you could see right here, the review assignment starts off with testing the kids' vocabulary. We give them the definition. They have to find the definition in the drop-down menu, okay? And then they'll hit check it at the bottom. That's what you do for every question in Codio, and it'll give them a grade. And then the rest of the review assignment is actually just review questions to review for the exam. So that's how you use that's where the pacing guide is in that first overview assignment, and then the vocabulary for your students to fill out, and then vocabulary is tested in the unit review. Okay, so that's how each one of our units are laid out. Let's just quickly look at an assignment, and then we'll wrap this up. So if you try to click on the name of an assignment, let's look at algorithmic components, sequence selection, and iteration. If I click on the assignment name, it opens up my gradebook, okay? To open up an actual assignment, let me click the blue back arrow here. You have to click on this preview eyeball right over here. That's how you open an assignment. Okay, now, before I open an assignment, let me tell you what all these other ones mean. This is pin. If you pin an assignment, it'll be highlighted in yellow. It calls it out for your students. If you want to have a due date, you can edit it right here. This will tell you how many students started, how many completed. This toggle over here is for releasing the grades. You don't release the grades until you're done grading. Once you turn that toggle on, the grades are spit out to your students, okay? So you want to make sure that toggle is off until you're ready to release it to the world. And then all the way down here, we have our 3 dots, which you're not really going to have to be concerned with. What you're going to be mostly concerned with is this gearbox icon over here. And let me review the gear icon before I open the assignment up. This is where you're going to find all the settings for an assignment, okay? And some of the ones that we just talked about are also listed in here. Codio likes having redundancy, multiple places to do the same thing. So you see right here, first of all, we have this nice jump to box. So if we want to actually go to another assignment, we don't have to go back. We can just scroll here and go to the other assignment settings. But let's stick with 1.3. So I'm going to quickly go through and highlight the settings you should be using. Pin assignment, we'll highlight it in yellow. Disable assignment. Now, there's 2 ways you can do Codio. One is you enable the assignments you want your students to work on, and you disable the ones you don't want them to do. It's pretty easy. And then here they have different settings for, well, what can your students see in an assignment after they mark it as complete, or if it's disabled. But the other thing you can do is you can set prerequisites for assignments. And I recommend you do this. So what this means is exactly what it sounds like. Well, before they can do assignment 1.3, I want them to do assignment 1.2. So all I have to do is check off this toggle over here, click on the blue Add Prerequisite, and choose the previous assignment, which was 1.2, and hit Select. And now it's going to add that. Now it wants me to say, what does that previous assignment state have to be in order for the student to now do 1.3? And they give you three choices: started, completed, and passed. You're going to want to choose completed. If you choose started, the student can literally just click on it, do nothing, and then move on to the next assignment. That is not what we want. If we click completed, the student needs to complete the previous assignment. That's what we want. And they can move on. And we don't have to grade it yet. So that's good for us. Now you can choose passed, which means they have to complete it. We need to grade it, and they need to pass it. That can hold students up. So what I recommend is just complete it, okay? And then just don't forget, hit the blue Save Changes button here. Now, where this interface comes in nice is if I wanted to, now I can just go up to here, go to assignment 1.4, and then do the same thing for that. Add the prerequisite, and what's before 1.4? 1.3. And then remember to make the status completed and click Save Changes. So you can do this really quick. It's an intuitive platform. All right, but let's go back to 1.3 and let's keep scrolling through the settings. Okay, assignment duration. This is where you can give your assignments due dates based on time. So it has to be done on Thursday by midnight. And then penalties. If you want to, you can tell them, well, you didn't hand it in, so I'm deducting, whatever, 20%. And I'm going to do that for every day that it's late until you get a 60, and then I'll be done with you. All right. So you can set penalties. They're not just for hockey players anymore. All right. Ignore exam proctoring, ignore survey, ignore Gigabox, ignore prime assignment containers. Group work. Group work is awesome for coding assignments in in Java and in Python. It does not work for Scratch. So if you turn on paired programming for a Python or Java assignment, it's exactly what it sounds like. Okay. The first thing it'll do is it'll ask you to make groups. You get to tell them how many people you want in each group. All right. And then that's it. You just have to click Save Changes. And when you do, up here, another tab opens up. It's called Groups. And when you click on Groups, it'll show you the groups that it made for your class, and then you can move the people around. Now, obviously, I have no students in my class, so there's nothing listed here. But this is really powerful stuff. So what it does is group work allows your students to work in groups. There'll be one driver, everyone else is a navigator. Whatever the driver is doing is being saved for everybody. And they can do this virtually or in the classroom. Okay, now, one of the good things for you is when you go to your grade book, let's say you have 20 kids in the class and they're in groups of 4, you'll just see the 5 groups, each kid listed underneath, but you only have to grade 5 assignments. And it'll spit that assignment grade for each one of the kids in that group. All right, so this is paired programming, group work. It only works with Python assignments and Java assignments. Now you can turn it on for our unit projects, all right? But that would be just to have the kids working in groups. You would literally have to have like one kid in the group do the project for the entire project, and that kid would be saved for everybody. All right. But for your coding assignments, it's pretty cool. And then the last thing I want to show you is all the way at the bottom, Virtual Coach. Codio has a built-in helper called Codio Coach, okay? Codio Coach will do 3 things, and I'm going to show it to you right now. Codio Coach will summarize the assignment page for the student, provide them with a hint on what to do next. And if they're doing Python or Java, they can cut and paste their Python and Java error into it. and it'll tell them what the error means and some suggestions on how to fix it, but we'll never tell them the answer. And the virtual coach, Codio Coach, was developed to save teachers time. We asked the University of Texas teaching assistants, what are the three most common questions you got? And they told us, students asked us, I don't know how to start. I don't know what to do next. And I don't know what this coding error means. And if you can make a bot that does those three things, you would save us 80% of the students visiting our office hours. So that's what we did. And that's what's built into the platform for your students. Now, I recommend keeping it on all the time, but like obviously, if you're not doing a coding assignment, you don't need to have the error augmentation on. You might want to shut that off. Okay. And this works on the assignment level. So obviously, if you're doing a test, shut this off. All right. So I'm going to keep it on though, all of them on. So now let me wrap up this video by actually showing you how to open an assignment up, showing you what the teacher view is and what the student view is. And then you'll be ready to start going through your course. All right, so if I click on overview, all right, to open an assignment, I click on the preview eyeball. So let me go to algorithmic components and click on the preview eyeball. Now, Codio's going to open up an assignment. For you, it'll always open up to teacher view. So this is teacher view. It'll always open up to our detailed teacher lesson plan. Okay, so here's our lesson plan. And one of the very cool things about our curriculum is we are directly aligned to the AP classroom for CSP and CSA, and eventually one day for cyber. So for the AP classroom, you'll notice in the teacher lesson plan, we literally tell you, do this for 15 minutes, do this for 35 minutes, and then in the AP classroom, assign your students this UTeach made shared quiz. We have about 40, I think, shared quizzes in AP CSP. We have them in CSA as well. Yeah, we've done the hard work for you. You literally just have to share this with your students in the AP classroom, and now you have another way of assessing them and getting some grades. All right, so that's the first page of our assignment. Now, if you come up here in the top right corner, this icon with the three lines is actually called a hamburger icon. And when you click on it, it shows you here's all the pages in this assignment. So the first page is the teacher lesson plan. Let's just quickly look at the last page. The last page is the teacher only additional information page. This is where we align to AP Classroom's question bank. So you can actually come up here and say, oh, okay, I can log into AP Classroom, click on the question bank, which is awesome, but has 500 questions in it. But if I check on topic and skills, I can click on 3.3, 3.6, 3.8, 3.9, 2A, and 2B, and it'll take it and condense it down to like 10 questions. And then you can literally look through those 10 questions and say, oh, you know what? Here's one that directly aligns to what I'm talking about. I'm going to assign it as an exit slip or as an entry slip tomorrow to know if they understood the concept or do I need to reteach it. All right. So that's when you're in teacher view, the first things the teacher is going to see in the assignment is the lesson plan. And the last page is the teacher only additional information. So now let's go to the first page in the actual assignment. So this is what our textbook looks like. Everything is in here. Everything lives in here. If we want them to code, it's in here. If we want to watch a video, it's in here. If we want to go to a website, the screen will split. So here you'll notice we scroll down. Here's one of those vocabulary words we want to cut and paste into the vocabulary sheet. And as I keep going down with this assignment, eventually I go to the next page and I see this purple teacher guidance box. Now, when you're in teacher view, this is like back in the day when you had a teaching manual and it would tell you right now in this assignment, say this to your students or have this discussion. That's what teacher guidance is. If you use our lesson plan during the assignment, when you're in teacher view, these purple guidance boxes will appear for you to do with your students. And then you see as I go through the students, here we have an assignment. We want them to make a flow chart. Okay. We go to the next page. Okay. We talk about algorithms. And then now, when we get to the question, the teacher will always get the rationale, okay, to share, to facilitate, right? So that is what an assignment looks like in teacher view. Let me show you what it looks like in student view. Up here, there's a gearbox. If you click on it, there's a green toggle. And when I click on this green toggle, it's going to switch from teacher view, which is only for you to look at, to student view, which is what you should project to your students and what your students will always see in Codio. They'll never see the teacher stuff. So when I click this green toggle, watch what happens over here on the right side of the page. The first thing that happened is the lesson plan and the teacher only additional information page disappeared. They're gone. And now when we actually look at the assignments are for your students. The purple guidance boxes are gone. Okay. If there's an embedded question, they just want your students to answer the question in the assignment. Okay. So we go to that last page, which was the reflection. Your students will type their reflection here and then hit submit answer. And we could control when we want the rationale to show, how, if we want to grade it, all that's customizable. Now, let's go back though to the very first page where it talks about sequence selection and iteration. So let's wrap up with Codio Coach. You notice down here, there's a little blue icon. Looks like R2D2's head with a rattle on top and two eyeballs. If you click on it, this is Codio Coach. Codio Coach works at the page level, not even the assignment, down to the page. So student doesn't know what to do for this assignment. They click summarize what I need to do. And Codio Coach will instantly say, this assignment introduces the three fundamental algorithmic components, sequence selection and iteration. Here's the requirements of the assignment. All right, that's great. It did what it needed to do. But now, how about provide a hint on what to do next? And then Codio Coach will start to work with the student. We've had this for a year and a half built into our platform. ChatGPT recently released study mode. This is part of the study mode. Here are some hints that can help you make progress. This assignment is primarily educational, teaching you about these three things. There's no actual coding. It's just concepts. And then it starts to break down everything more. So Codio Coach is your greatest line, your first line of defense. I used to say in my classroom, three before me, ask three students before me. Now it's before you approach, ask the coach, because it'll help you out in the classroom. So the last thing is, if you ever need to get back to your Codio dashboard in the top left corner here, there is a terrible looking Codio icon that's white, blue, and black. Just click on it and it'll take you back to your Codio dashboard. All right, so just a reminder, if you ever need help, come up here to the help icon, help tab at the top of the screen. Get support, we'll shoot our support team an email. Schedule a one-on-one call. We'll schedule a one-on-one call with us. And then if you ever need help with the Codio platform, you might want to click on Codio Help. This will be a great place to start looking for more information. All right, let's say I want more information on prerequisites. Okay, you just got to come up here and Codio will have updated information and videos on it. So that's why this Codio Help tab is something you also want to utilize. So I hope you found this walkthrough of Codio helpful. Welcome to the UTeach family. Reach out if you ever need support.